back, everybody, after the break. Today we're going to have Michael Harrigan, who's a registered nurse. He's also level 3 certified in healing touch. So I don't know a lot about healing touch, so I'm really excited to have Michael tell us a little bit more about this. And he's also going to teach us a little bit about the chakras. Who here has actually heard about chakras? Okay, anybody not? Right. Okay, it looks like everybody does. Oh, well, that's cool. That's great. And so the table's here because he's going to be doing a demo at the beginning for everyone. So, and if you have questions, they're okay to raise your hand.
Yeah. Anytime you have a question, just go ahead and feel free to stop and say, explain us.
Okay, fabulous. So I'll let Michael take over. Thanks, Michael.
Thanks. I know we just came back from a break, but just to kind of get everybody up, can I have everybody just kind of stand up? Just kind of get everybody loosened up a little bit. What I'm going to have everybody do is make sure that you've got a little bit of room from your neighbor. And what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of bring your hands up. When you get your hand up to about the level of your middle dantian, change your palm this way, push it up. Bring your hand down and scoop back up again. Pretend you're scooping chi and you're gathering chi. And one more time, scooping the chi up, stretching, stretch your arms out. You're going to open up those meridians in your shoulders. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to do something called the dragon. What we're going to do, we're just going to turn. Turn back to the center. And correspond your breathing with your turning. So you're going to breathe out as you turn back. And breathe in as you turn towards the center. Breathe out as you turn back. And in as you turn towards the center. One more on each side. Breathing in as you come to the center. Breathe out as you turn back. Now we're going to do one more thing. We're going to sync the chi before we sit down. So again, you're going to gather the chi up. You're gathering the yang chi from heaven. Just bring it down to your lower dantian.
Ooh, that feels good, Michael. Thank you.
And my shoulder
Those
didn't
are
do this yesterday.
Those are actually a couple of moves from the 8 pieces of brocade. Actually, a couple of the opening sequences. So, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give a brief overview of healing touch, what healing touch is, a brief overview of the chakras. Everybody's heard of the chakras. We'll talk a little bit about them, about what their main functions are. And then what I'm going to do is give you something that you can take home and do when you get home. It's something called the self-chakra connection, and that's the handout that I went through. And we'll go through that towards the end of the presentation. And this is something that I do in the mornings, or I do maybe at night when I want to get myself centered again. What you're doing is you're reconnecting all your chakras, and you'll find doing this, it's really an invigorating kind of get you ready for the day and get you balanced. So we'll start off with, what is healing touch? Healing touch is a gentle, complementary, integrative energy approach to healing. It's not an invasive procedure, Layman thing. It's something that anybody can do. You don't need to be a nurse. You don't need to have like a medical background. Anybody can learn how to do healing touch. And you can do healing touch on yourself and healing touch on your friends and family. Remember which one of these is. It's an energy field approach to healing. It's energy based, and you're dealing with the aura and the biofield that surrounds the body. Very much like what we're doing with the LifeWise and everything. This is all energy based medicine or healing. The idea is to restore the harmony and balance back to your system, to get everything balanced, to get yourself so your body is in a state where it can heal itself. And it does this through a heart-centered, caring relationship. For the people you're doing healing touch, you're looking to do the best intention for the person you're working with and to get rid of all the things that don't serve that person. And when you're doing healing touch on yourself, getting rid of the things that don't serve you and for your best, things that serve you in your best interest. And again, the idea is to restore the balance so that your body can flow and your body can heal itself. There's different areas where healing touch has been used. One of the things that we do is something called a magnetic clearing. It's very good in chemotherapy side effects. When I actually learned level 2 and 3, I learned level 2 and 3 at St. Mary's Hospital down in Amsterdam from Sister Rita. And one of the things they do there is if you have somebody who's in chemotherapy, it's very good at getting the side effects of chemotherapy out of the system. Also very good for post-anesthesia. When they bring people into the OR, sometimes what they'll do is they'll do a healing touch section before, they'll do a spiral chakra connection to open that person up. And then when they come back out, they'll do a magnetic clearing and they'll get some of the anesthesia out of their system. Stress reduction. One of the things you can do is kind of reduce stress. You'll see during this chakra connection, there's really will get you centered. There's a couple techniques we call it mind clearing that will actually help reduce stress. There's a scutter technique, which is good to revitalize you. Pain. And hospice, again, it's been used in hospice settings, once again, for management of long-term pain.
Michael, isn't it true that healing touch is one of those modalities where it's more accepted in hospitals and
Yes.
conventional medical centers than, say, Reiki or other things we do?
Yes, it's actually a nursing diagnosis. I think it's the Carpinelli dose energy field disturbance. So there's actually a real nursing diagnosis that you would use, and you would actually write that as on a nursing care plan, and then your interventions would be, restoring the balance. When we did the class in St. Mary's Hospital, there's actually a patient chart, and I have the copies of that I can bring, where you actually will document which way your pendulum swings, what you feel with your energy field,
Wow.
what your interventions are, and that actually becomes part of the patient record.
How
That's
often is
great.
it being used? How often is it being used in hospitals?
Depends the hospital and how many people are on staff that do it. And, I know I think Albany Medical Center has some volunteers that do come in and do healing touch.
Albany and St.
St. Peter's, yeah. Actually, some of them go to the I go to the Saratoga Healing Touch group, and some of them will come up from Albany, and some from Saratoga will go there too. So there's actually a couple of different hospitals that are really using it. One of the things we talk about at St. Mary's, when they start IVs, they will actually do a thing that they call a laser. And what that does is that actually reduces the pain. It's like you're taking a concentrated force and you're holding it here, going back and forth, and that's a pain management tool. And they'll do that before they start an IV. They'll do that, the nurses that are trained in healing touch.
And the medical doctors invite these people over to do it to their patients. That's how open they are in Albany Med.
Really?
Yeah.
More and more, they are becoming receptive. More and more the doctors are really saying, yeah, we've seen this. I think it's Albany Med, where there's a doctor who's actually healing touch certified. I believe they've actually.
We just know one of the volunteers that's a patient of ours that goes there to do it, and the doctor invites him to do it.
Yeah, so it's becoming more and more, there's more evidence, it's evidence-based that, what healing touch, can do, and especially in this realm of, pain management, stress reduction, and chemotherapy, that's been some of the big areas where it's really been, seen where in the hospital setting. So what these energy therapies do is focus on balancing your energy fields. Jake?
Hi.
Come up and Jake's going to be my volunteer here.
Can you
like
sit
everything
on
like
the-
we're talking about with acupuncture, like you're talking about with the healing touch, the idea is there's a blockage somewhere. That's why there's pain. That's why there's possibly a disease forming. Somewhere that energy is gummed up, is blocked. And our goal is to find out where that energy is blocked up and then do interventions to get that energy flowing again and get the body back in balance so that the body will be back to a state where it can heal itself. Go ahead and just,
How do you want me to shoot off?
either way, shoot, doesn't matter. You can actually sit down and lay back on your back. And then once we correct the imbalance, so that this is when your body's going to return to a state where it can heal itself. The benefits, it's non-invasive. You don't have to order blood work. You don't have to do any kind of surgical procedures. There's more and more evidence, and I do have documentations and research that I've actually done on healing touch. If anybody's interested, I can get you those papers, and I've done some meta-analysis for my classes on the effectiveness of healing touch, Tai Chi, Qigong, and different alternative medicines. And there actually is now a growing body that, yes, this is an intervention, low cost. All the changes that are taking place in the healthcare system, you're looking for something that's a low-paced intervention. A $600 healing touch over a year versus a $60,000 hip replacement. I mean, now it's getting the insurance companies to go, do I want to spend $600 or do I want to wait and spend $60,000 plus, because that's going to be ongoing. So it's economical. So chakras. We had talked a little bit about the chakras, and people had said, we've all heard about them. Anybody want to chime in anything about chakras that you know? Or?
I've done guided meditation, and also by myself, where I open them up and then I close them down, and it's really amazing. I could say it's an awesome feeling that everyone should try. Very good.
So something I'm going to do before I talk about the chakras, I'm going to show you one of the ways that we actually will do a patient assessment. Part of the assessment is I'll actually sit down and I'll do a history and physical. We'll talk about, what are your goals? Where is there any complaints? Where is there any pain? Then we'll kind of work together and come up with a plan so that we'll, see what kind of interventions we can do and what kind of treatments that will help. And when I get past this stage, I will actually do an assessment to see where his energy field is. So one of the first things I'm going to do, I'm just going to center myself a little bit, and then I'm going to come and I'm going to check out his energy fields. And I'm going to see where he's at. His energy field up to about here. This is the root chakra. The root chakra is clockwise and wide.
Did you say clockwise and wide?
Yes. That's actually a documentation. This is the sacral chakra. Solar plexus. Heart chakra. You know you got a heart somewhere.
So that's the only one that wasn't clockwise so far.
Throat chakra. Brow chakra. Sometimes it takes a little minute to get it. And your crown.
moving out of the way from when it almost went into.
Yeah. So that's why sometimes I'll sit and I'll kind of wait and make sure, it's what I'm seeing and which way it's spinning. So I've done an assessment, and I've kind of shown people, this is where the chakras are on his body. Then what I would do is I would actually take and I would do an assessment on his field. And I'm looking for variations, anything that I feel is different, kind of. This field's about out to here. And then you document what you're going to find as you go through this. And then based on what I've seen there, what I would do is I would do my interventions. I would do a certain technique on whatever chakras that I felt that day. One of the things about working with energy is you always follow the energy. The energy will tell you what needs to be done, and the energy will always go where it needs to go. So even if you're doing something here and there's something here, the energy knows where it has to go. The energy will be and do what it needs to do. All you need to do is just have, the highest intention for the person to do, and to get rid of what does not serve. So now that we've mapped out the chakras, there the energy centers literally transmits to a wheel or disc. So, and one of the reasons I did that is you could actually see the chakras are actually circular cone-shaped energy vortexes, and they go both through the body this way, front and back. So if he flipped over on his back, you can actually see the chakras back there. And there's a different, I think your will is what is in the back, and I'm not sure in the front, I'd have to look at that. But there's different things that you're going to assess from and back as far as what they're. Openings for life energy, associated with mental, physical, and basically vitalize the body. I want to go to there are 7 main that we did, and there's actually 21 minor chakras. And after that is when you get into the meridians and the acupuncture pressure points that branch off from those 21. So they're all kind of related, but we just did an assessment of the 7 main ones. So we'll get to this is, I pulled off the internet, which I thought was a very, very good explanation of chakras and what happens when they get clogged. Think of just your bathroom drain. And when you get something like hair in the bathroom drain, what happens? The water doesn't flow. If it stays there long enough, then you get all kinds of mold and gunk and crap in the sink, and that's not what you want to have. So what you want to do here is basically get that energy flowing. Open those chores up so the energy is free flowing, and that's what's going to keep your body back in harmony. So the root chakra. People who can see the root chakra, its color is red. It's located here at the base of the spine, but we assessed it here.
Can we just move this so you can see so you don't have to.
Oh, okay.
Your voice goes away when you.
When I go turn toward the screen?
Sorry,
Okay.
I forgot to see that.
Okay. Its purpose is stability, security, and your basic needs. Material world is kind of what your root chakra is around. And, I kind of was waffling on to put these because these are overlapping. But some of the physical symptoms you can see are lower back pains, sciatica, maybe depression because you're not, secure, you're not centered. Survival, self-esteem, security. So somebody who doesn't have a good root chakra, that's kind of what they may not be is around. Spinal column, kidneys, legs, feet, a little bit of your immune system. I think your thymus and your spleen are a little more into your immune system, but it does have a little bit of an effect on it. And again, these kind of overlap. sacral, this is the next one that we went up to. People who are able to see the sacral, color is orange. So basically what you'll see with your color orange is this entire picture. I tried to get a good picture of the human aura with all those different colors, but I couldn't find one. So that was the closest I could find with the colors of the chakras, but to give you an idea of the different colors. People who are able to see the colors, who are able to see them, they can tell from the different hues as to what's going on, because different hues will kind of tell them to them. I cannot see them. I can see a little bit around people's head, but I can't discern the colors yet. I've got to work on more sensitivity to that. It's creativity, your sexual center, big creativity. Symptoms, again, these kind of overlap depending, but you can have low back pain, pelvic pain, libido problems. And these are the areas of the body that that particular chakra is kind of controlled. So in my history and physical, when I'm talking to somebody, this is one of the things that I've got in the back of my mind. They tell me they've got any kind of issues or thing. I'm thinking, what's going on? It's kind of an information gathering process when you first talk to the person. The solar plexus. When you came up into the solar plexus, if you can see it, it's yellow. It's kind of your source of personal power and self-esteem and feeling you're accepted. Again, some of the physical symptoms you might have. Self-esteem kind of feeling. And your upper abdomen and liver, again, some of these are overlapping. Your heart is the bridge. It's the bridge between the physical and the spiritual. So it's kind of the center where everything kind of goes from here to here is getting into the spiritual. From here to here is more into your physical and material world. Its color is green. Center of the chest, like you saw when we did our pendulum. Sources of unconditional love and connection. Some of the physical problems that you might see with that. Some of the mental and emotional problems would be like love, or if somebody was angry, or they were really jealous, they had some issues there, I would then begin to see, maybe I'm going to see something different in here. Maybe I'm going to see it spin a different way. Maybe I'm not going to see anything in here. Maybe it's going to spin, there's an elliptical spin to the left or an elliptical spin to the right. So depending what you're seeing, that's going to tell you what's the status of that chakra, what's going on. Throat is sky blue. That's as close to sky blue as my Linux PowerPoint would allow me to get. Again, it's in the throat and the neck region. And this is verbal expression and the ability to speak your highest truth. So your throat chakra, you're looking at kind of how people can verbalize and how they can speak that highest truth of being connected with. Because you're getting into the bridge, you're getting into this bridge between the physical and the spiritual. And I kind of go through these here quick physical symptoms, again, thyroid dysfunction, voice problems, personal expression and creativity. If somebody feels like they just are not expressing themselves, they can't get words together, that might be something to do with their throat chakra. The brow is indigo. Again, as close as I can get. We're talking from the next three kind of all look the same, but as far as color, but I tried to get indigo on my PowerPoint. Your center of intuition and understanding. Physical symptoms, headaches, but as I say, some of these I'm looking at, maybe stress or something too, but this is something that, I would consider when people were telling me, well, what's going on, brow chakra thing, is it a stress thing? You know, it's kind of one of these things when I start thinking about, you know, how am I going to help? What do we need to do? What do we need to work on together with it? Discipline, judgment, emotional intelligence, I kind of said. I left that in there, but brain, your neurological eyes, and your pituitary and pineal glands, and your crown chakra. Your crown chakra is violent life, and it kind of goes this way. Enlightenment, it's kind of your connection to the divine or to the universal energy. Spiritual depression, skin and muscular system. To say, some of these I kind of think overlap with some of the other chakras and other things, but there's just some examples of some of the things that could be associated with it. Mental and emotional, lack of purpose, loss of identity, trust, lack of inspiration, any of those kind of things could indicate that there's a problem, going with your crown chakra. So what we're going to try to do now is sit down, and you don't have to get out of your chair or anything, but we're going to go through the chakra self-connection exercise.
Can I just ask, you described all the different colors of the chakra. Now, if you go lower from below the sacral one, is there just like a white light emanating? Like what do you see past your chakras? Because you still have your legs, and when you cross them, it crosses over where your chakra energy is. Well, what is seen? Because you felt some energy when you were passing your hands.
The energy is just his overall aura from all of the energy that's coming out this way.
Mm-hmm.
So the actual colors are going to kind of come out, and they're going to blend a little bit, but you won't see like there's not a specific light color per se.
So it just like dissipates, just like ends, or does it just, the red just continues to the end of the feed?
Red just continues, and it just kind of will fade, but it continues a certain distance out. And like I would probably feel where his field ends.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling his field about here.
Mm-hmm.
This is about where I'm feeling the end of his field.
So you say,
Now he's a little further out now.
so if you say field, is that the same as aura, or is it?
That's his aura, yes. Yeah, that's his aura. That's his energy field. That's his aura that I'm feeling.
Because I find with a lot of people, like when I muscle test their aura, especially if they're super sensitive, it's super big. Like sometimes about 28 meters out.
It can expand and it
So,
can contract. It
Would
can change.
you not be able, I mean, is there like many other things inside that big field that you're feeling, or?
There's different layers of the
Okay.
aura, and as you get more sensitive, you can feel the different layers, and the different bodies actually have different things. Like we learn to work in the different fields. Like some of the interventions I'm doing are in some of the other fields. If I was going to do a hara connection, and then I could work in the fifth energy field, and I can do some things in that field, clear some things out of that field. Because when we talked about earlier on the panel, PTSD will actually layer itself, like you said, it will layer itself in things, and what you're doing is you're going to find it in the different fields. So there's different interventions that you would do to help clear that out of the different fields. Same thing with disease processes. You might get a disease process that's going to show up in a particular field.
Can you suck in your energy field? Because I know it sounds weird. I feel very sensitive, like I can feel myself, but if I'm in the presence of someone I don't feel comfortable, I feel like I
You're
can
closing
walk.
yourself off.
Yeah, like I can feel
yourself
their
together.
negative energy coming in, and I can feel myself closing myself. Is that?
You probably are uncomfortable, and you're drawing yourself in, and you probably feel like things closing and things changing a little bit.
I wasn't sure if it was just
Because
in
it's
my
the
head.
interaction between, because when people talk and they interact, their fields interact. And when you get in and you feel something that kind of brings you back, you come back. You kind of actually will play yourself back.
Because I'm usually a very hyper person, and there's some people that if I
if I don't like their interactions, I start to close off, and I can feel my energy getting really, like, dense inside of me. And I just thought it was in my head, but
You're picking up something from them, and you're going,
That sounds actually pretty appropriate. When you
Yeah.
yeah, like there's something over there I don't really.
Yeah.
It's like on Star Trek, shields up.
Yeah, shields up.
yeah, online, you know.
And we physically sometimes move back, but the other person can move on. It's
Yeah,
sort of
it's
like
what
it's
happens,
the
you're
opposite
doing
of
this,
moving.
and you're not even know, sometimes you're not even aware that you're doing it. You're going,
Okay, a little bit I know about chakras. I remember hearing that if your root chakra isn't in a good place, that, you know, you've got to start from the bottom and kind of work your way up to build it. Is that true? Is that how you?
yeah, you're doing your assessment because you want them to all, you know, be open and aligned. And so you're starting, you know, here. That's why we started the root, and you kind of check.
Like, it's like the foundation of a
The
house, that
foundation.
can build it. That's-
They actually correspond to Erickson's developmental stages. So you're actually checking these out and you're going, you know, and this is like, they kind of build and they're interactive. So,
But could it be, could you come across people whose higher chakras are so in tune, but their lower chakras are?
there might be something not about, they may be
Yeah.
really understanding something, but they may not be secure or safe, something's going on.
Right, and a lot of healers are that way, very, intuitive healers, they're like really in touch with the divine and higher self, and they're kind of in that world, but they can't pay the rent, like the real basic foundational,
The physical.
right, yeah, they're not safe in their
Very
environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, then people would say they're ungrounded, right, so lack of that
And that's
chakra,
something,
chakra.
if you're feeling, you might feel ungrounded, and that could be, there's something going on, what's going on, what's making you feel that way.
Another question I have, like, some people like a certain color, like my favorite color is violet. Does that mean I am more in tune with the violet chakra?
Good
And,
question, I'm
like-
not sure, I really don't know.
Like I'm attracted to stuff, I try not to buy clothes in that color because I look silly in it, but
No way, you would look great.
oh my gosh, I only have like one purple thing that my daughter bought me because she knows.
Come to my
I-
closet.
Oh, cool. But I have like a crazy addiction to that color. Like even when I buy things for my kitchen, I have to stop and think, wait a minute. I have a rustic kitchen. Purple strainer is not going to look great in a rustic kitchen. So it's like, but anytime I wanted in college to buy a purple car because I just love that color. So I was wondering, is that like isn't that chakra stronger on me and it makes me want that color, or?
I truly don't know on that, I really don't know, that's a good question, I'm not sure how that would correspond with that, I really don't know.
With food and spirit, which, correlates with the chakras, there's a lot of color involvement, and there's a lot of color involvement with food too, so, do you like grapes?
And I only buy purple ones.
Like purple grapes, yeah. But so the colors help balance, in a different sense than what you're doing, but the colors do help in that balance, but.
I mean, when I was younger, it sounds crazy, but in my dorm room, everything was purple. Everything, the sheets, the rug runner, anything I could find, or violet color. I even painted in my house, my bedroom's purple, even though it's supposed to be an Asian theme, but everything's purple because I really love the color. And I got to the point where I'm like, okay, I can't stay in this color because everyone's going to look at it and go, this is weird. But I
So
was,
what?
I would
That was my bedroom when I was
There's a
8.
resonance there,
Yeah.
Right.
And even looking at overactive or underactive, because they're totally different spectrums, not just out of balance, but, maybe something to look into that chakra a little bit. Is it going too far on the other end?
Exactly, and in the body code, there is actually a toxicity, we didn't get to that screen because it didn't show up for Missy yesterday, but there's a toxicity screen that's color, excess color. toxicity.
Oh.
So I've actually had to release the excess color purple in me several times.
And how do you release it? I mean,
Oh, just magnet, body code, we do that. And then sometimes you're color deficient, so there's certain colors that some people never wear, so, and I don't know this, so they come to the office and I go, well, the body code says you're deficient in orange. Do you like orange? I hate orange. Oh, okay, well, there's a problem here, So.
you're not filling a need.
Yeah, something like that. So that was a good question, and it might be either or,
Well, speaking as a branding professional, one of the things you do when choosing a logo for a business or an organization is that there are certain emotions that people have tested that they associate with colors. Like purple, I remember, is creativity, whereas orange is energy and vitality. So if you're doing, say, a nutritional drink, orange is a great color to choose because it conveys that. So it's an emotional connection. I can see, that's recognized and been focus tested to death. So I can see why that would be like a clue about how color affects you, and it's something to explore, I guess. And it might just be connected to chakras.
And I know something we talked about distance, about your orders being out. One of the interventions we do is we do migraine interventions for headaches. And the couple times that I've done it in a setting where the person can be sitting and you can actually feel the pain spike from their migraine 25, 30 feet away. And what you do, the way you do that, is have the person is sitting, you have to close their eyes. You walk until you'll feel it's like a bar. And then you'll feel the pain spike and you start to clear it. And then you have them talk to you and say, is it getting better? And as you're walking closer, you're clearing it. And they'll tell you to get away. They'll tell all of a sudden they'll start feeling worse. So then you have to clear some more. And then you come back a little closer. And you eventually work until you've cleared that pain spike. But a person with a migraine, you can feel the pain spike come. The very first class I took in Vermont, we did it, and we were outside. And the person who volunteered was sitting at the picnic table. And we were about 35, 40 feet away. And you could feel the pain spike. And she closed her eyes in a minute. We got too close. She said, stop. Don't come any closer. And because her headache was starting to get worse again until it cleared. And then she let us get closer again as we cleared the pain out of the field.
Are you drinking? Oh, sorry.
So,
Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
okay, so you actually can physically sort of like feel like a mark because I suffer from migraine.
Yeah, but
And
a
it
couple
feels
times,
like
a
a
couple
bar.
times I've done them, I've actually felt it's a bar. It's an actual boom. It's like it's right there.
That's what it feels like in the head. It feels like it runs from here, like all the way to the back, I'm like, it's like a bar in the head.
Yeah, and you feel it right there. It's like there.
So does it drain your own energy when you're trying to take away somebody else's pain? So you're not feeling like, because sometimes somebody will say like, oh, I can feel your energy, and they'll touch your hands or something, and all of a sudden, I went to a palm reader once and I didn't like it because I felt like she was draining my energy. Sounds crazy, but.
No, I've never felt that, and I've never heard anybody who said it. Usually it's a two-way stream because even though you're doing a treatment, you're also getting something back because energy always goes where it needs to go. So it'll always do what it needs to resolve. So no, I've never felt that.
Do you absorb the negativity of the other person you're working on as you're working on that?
What I do at the end, what they teach us to do is you always disassociate. You always, like at the end of the session, what you'll do is you're going to break your contact.